Well, hey guys, what's up? It's your boy, one and only Animation Legends, and yeah guys, today I am back with the next part of what if Naruto was neglected by his family, reborn, refused to give up his chakra to Menma. So yeah guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed the previous part of the series, and if you guys have not seen it, please guys check it out, you guys will definitely like it. And yeah guys, before starting this video, I would like to make a request to all of you guys who are watching this video. If you guys are new to the channel, or if you guys have not subscribed yet, please guys do so. It would be very helpful to me as I want to reach 30k subscribers on this channel, and you guys subscribing would be really appreciated, so please guys do so. And yeah guys, I would like to tell you guys about my another channel by the name of AR Ultra Goku, on which I upload content related to Dragon Ball. So if you are a fan of Dragon Ball, then watch out that channel as well. So without any further ado, let us start the video. Last time we left off as we saw that how Naruto was looking at the wedding of his little brother Menma and his previous fiancée Hinata Hyuga. The fourth great ninja war has ended. Menma has become the hero of the shinobi world. He has defeated Uchiha Madara and sealed away Kaguya Otsutsuki. Thus the name of child of destiny, but no one knows that how Menma achieved that. From the very young age, Naruto was forced to give up his chakra to Menma over and over again. In the beginning, it was only half of his chakra, but as the time went on, they started to take more and more chakra, even to the point 80% of his chakra at every month was taken away and given to Menma, who was heavily yin in chakra nature. Therefore, it required the heavy yang of Naruto's own chakra to balance it out and control the power of Kyuubi. Of course, no one knew about it other than his so-called parents and godfather and godmother. And Naruto for just for that so-called affection of family given in, and even his fiancée was taken away by Menma, and Naruto was at last was lying on his bed. After all, the core of his chakra was taken away in the fourth Great Ninja War when Menma was injured and Minato forcefully took away his chakra core and gave it to Menma, while on the other hand, Naruto finally closes his eyes, and when he opened his eyes, he was in the body of a 12-year-old. Not only he was reborn, he was also given a gift called System, which granted him power just for resisting Uzumaki Namikaze family. Naruto was not only given the power of Hashirama's sage body, but also all the techniques and experience of wood style, as Naruto decided to cut ties with Uzumaki Namikaze family and decided to rent out a small apartment for himself. But to his surprise, his so-called Jonin and teammates arrived and started to mock Naruto, saying that how he was kicked out by the family of the Hokage and he was just a failure, as Naruto was angry about it. But finally the mission arrived to beat down this academy students, or rather his teammates, as Naruto accepted it, as Naruto gave a thorough beatdown to his so-called teammates as well as even the Jonin instructor attacked Naruto. But at the moment, Naruto only knew the basic techniques, even though the system has given him the wood style as well as Hashirama's siege body, but Naruto did not want to use it at the moment. So Naruto used the basic techniques, but the power of sage body cannot be underestimated. Every moment Naruto was fighting, he was becoming faster, sharper, his strength was increasing. One punch that landed on the Jonin was more than enough to take down the Jonin, as Jonin was in utter shock as Naruto's power was rapidly increasing. After all, Tsunade's so-called super strength is only basics for sage body, as Naruto was able to achieve it. And finally the time arrived when Naruto was gonna take part in the Chunin exam, but Hinata finally came, as Hinata told Naruto that he should make more sacrifices for the family and should give up his chakra. But Naruto simply told her to get lost, as Hinata was furious about it, and told Naruto that if he were to win in the Chunin exam, then Hokage-sama will not ask him to give up his chakra, but if he were to lose it, then he should hand over his chakra to Menma, who is more worthy of Naruto's chakra than Naruto himself, as Naruto simply accepted it. After all, the system has given him the mission, thus gaining all the 5 attribute jutsus below S rank, as Naruto was taken aback at that. After all, only few techniques are above S rank, while the other techniques are mostly A and other ranks. So Naruto accepted the challenge. So yeah guys, that was the last part of the series. So if you guys have not seen it, please guys check it out. You guys will definitely like it. So without Any further ado, let us start the story from here. As Naruto was looking towards the walking away form of Hinata, as Naruto simply shook his head, he has already gotten over her. After all, one life was more than enough to give up on his so-called family, siblings, and so-called fiancé. As Naruto finally decided to walk towards his apartment, as Naruto wanted to know all the knowledge he possessed at the moment, and the training is about to begin. While on the other hand, in the Hokage office, Minato has watched everything, as both Jiraiya and Minato has come to the conclusion that Naruto will sooner or later will definitely fall in their hand, and they should take more chakra from Naruto to give to Menma. After all, Naruto has awoken the sage body, thus Naruto would be able to recover even faster. They should cut the time from 1 month to 15 days so that Menma could be given more chakra, and thus Menma could become stronger to save the shinobi world. As both Jiraiya and Minato nodded at that, as Jiraiya said, "Alright Minato, I'll be going to start the training of Menma and Mito as well. After all, she does possess the Uzumaki chains, thus gaining the approval of me to get the contract of the tours." As Minato simply nodded at that, as Jiraiya disappeared and finally arrived in the training ground 7, as his team members were already present there. Uchiha Sasuke, Menma Uzumaki Namikaze, and Mito Namikaze were waiting for Jiraiya, as Jiraiya simply smiled towards them. "Alright Kakashi, you can come out now." As Kakashi finally appeared, as Jiraiya looked towards him. "Kakashi, you have to teach Sasuke about the Chidori. I have already talked with Minato and he has agreed." As Sasuke's eyes widened at that Chidori, a rank technique, he was happy about it. So Kakashi decided to take Sasuke away, while on the other hand Jiraiya looked towards Menma and Mito. "Alright kids, why don't you try to make the Rasengan? I want to see the strength of your respective Rasengans." As both Menma and Mito started to make their Rasengan, while Menma, as a child of destiny, was easily able to make Rasengan a lot faster than Mito, and his strength was also greater, as Mito was a bit jealous but mostly proud of her older brother. As Menma simply smirked at that. "Well, Godfather, what is going on with Naruto? Has he given up on his so-called tantrum?" As Jiraiya simply shook his head. "Do not worry, Menma. Naruto is just a loser. Even activating the sage body doesn't grant you the immediate Chutsu like Rasengan and other techniques. As for Naruto, do not worry about him. Just beat him in the Chunin exam and he will come to his senses." As Menma simply nodded at that, as Jiraiya started the training of Menma and Mito, while in a training ground, Naruto was looking around, as Naruto simply nodded and made a hand sign, multiple shadow clone jutsu, and just like that, hundreds of Naruto appeared. Naruto's sage body was granting him chakra levels beyond that of the level of anyone. After all, Hashirama Senju in the 4th grade ninja war had said that Naruto had almost as much chakra as himself, which means that Hashirama's chakra either is slightly greater than that of 9th Jinchuriki Naruto or slightly lower. Though I believe that it would be slightly greater than that of Naruto's, but either way, Naruto's sage body was giving him the equal chakra levels to his counterpart in the original canon. Thus, Naruto can make hundreds of shadow clones, as Naruto simply nodded as all the shadow clones started to go through different hand signs, the fire style, earth style, wind style, lightning style, and water style. All the techniques below S rank were granted to Naruto. So therefore, at the moment, Naruto knows thousands of techniques, and Naruto wanted to see the how much chakra would be required to use what technique. And just like that, Naruto started his training, and time has arrived for the start of the Chunin exam. As Naruto finally arrived in the academy, as Naruto looked towards his so-called teammates who were glaring towards Naruto, but Naruto simply ignored them. After all, he could also see some fear in the eyes of these two teammates, as Naruto finally looked towards his Jonin sensei, who was looking towards Naruto with complicated expression on his face. No, Jonin sensei actually hated his student, but honestly, he had never considered Naruto as his student, as he always believed that Menma was the true prodigy and Naruto was just a failure, even though he was pretty happy when he heard that he's gonna train the son of Hokage. But when he saw the potential of Naruto, his exhaustion, his little chakra levels, he was truly disappointed in Naruto, and after that he became indifferent to everything. And now looking towards Naruto, who seemed to be finally showing his potential, he was truly taken aback at that, but he simply shook his head. There was little that he could do at this point. With Naruto's powers, it would not be difficult for him to become a Chunin. So the Chunin simply gave some instructions, and just like that, Naruto and his two teammates finally arrived in the first stage of the Chunin exam, as Naruto looked towards the second room where everyone was gathering and showing a scene of weakness by Team 10, or rather 11, of Neji's team, which was showing a scene of weakness as Naruto simply ignored them as his two teammates were gonna join it, but Naruto simply started to walk towards the third floor as both of them were confused and they were about to call him, but Naruto looked towards them, follow. And just like that, Naruto started to walk towards the third floor as both of them were pretty angry about the situation, but there was little they could do about it as they finally started to walk towards Naruto and finally arrived at the third floor when they noticed that this was the true third floor, and they quickly realized that the other floor was just a genjutsu as they looked towards Naruto in utter shock. After all, in their eyes, that was just a fluke that Naruto was able to defeat them, and now he seemed to be showing his true potential as they both of them were getting a bit uneasy. As Naruto looked back to see the battle between Sasuke and Lee, but this time Sasuke, who was training with Kakashi mostly, was able to keep up with Lee, and Lee was about to remove his weight to fight against Sasuke. But Guy finally arrived as Naruto eyes narrowed at that guy figured that guy was really powerful. But Naruto finally decided to step inside of the room where all the genin were present as Naruto simply ignored them. And finally, the first part of the Chunin exam began as his teammates were about to give up, but Naruto looked towards them and started to focus his chakra towards them as both of them were taken aback at that. As their shoulders, they were feeling as if immense pressure was placed upon both of them. This was the ability that Naruto has gained thanks to his immense chakra. Naruto can focus his pressure anywhere he so desire. And this was one of the abilities of Sage Body, the perfect chakra control. And just like that, his teammates were almost on the verge of unconsciousness. And finally, the 10th question finally went came in and out, and just like that, the first part of the Chunin exam has ended, and finally Anko arrived and they finally appeared for the second stage of the Chunin exam as Anko gave his speech, and finally Naruto entered along with his two teammates in the second part of the Chunin exam as both of his teammates were looking towards Naruto in utter fear. After all, both of them had figured it out that Naruto was the one who stopped both of them from giving up the exam, as Naruto as well as the two useless teammates were walking in the second stage of the Chunin exam, but suddenly the system finally spoke up. Ding! It is noticed that an S-rank rogue ninja Orochimaru of the Sannin has appeared in the Chunin exam. Option 1, ignored it, and you will get option 2, fight against Orochimaru of the Sannin and make him run away, show your strength, and you will get the reward of half of the chakra of Shikaku, the One Tail, and magnetic release. When Naruto saw the chakra of the Nine Tails, or rather the One Tail, Naruto raised an eyebrow at that system. Will other people will be able to tell that I have the chakra of a Biju? The system spoke up. No one will be able to sense the power of the Biju inside of you, as this power will dissolve into your own power. As Naruto simply nodded at that. After all, if Naruto one day has the chakra of Nine Tails or any other Biju, it would be trouble for Naruto himself. Even though Naruto has all of these rewards and is getting stronger and stronger, Naruto did not forget that he is only 12-year old at this point. Even the full power of the Mokitan cannot be used by him. As Naruto simply nodded at that, as Naruto noticed that some of the other Janin seemed to have surrounded them as Naruto looked towards his useless teammates who were still looking towards Naruto and truly unworthy of being taken part in Chunin exam. As Naruto simply shook his head as Naruto disappeared at that with blinding speed. He was upon the team and he had already completed the hand sign, fire style, majestic destroyer flame, as Naruto released a tsunami of fire towards the rain shinobi who were taken aback at that, but one of their Janin stepped forward and make a gigantic water prison, thus saving his teammates, but it was hardly a save as all of them were utterly burnt. But that water prison had saved their lives as Naruto walked towards the Genin and brought out the scroll. After all, the scroll was rather in good shape as Naruto simply nodded at that and disappeared and appeared in front of his useless teammates and said, "Follow me." And after that, Naruto started to walk towards the team where he could already sense the chakra of Nine Tails that was being emitting by two figures. It seemed that Orochimaru's true target is Team 7. as Naruto as well as his teammates finally appeared in the area where the battle was still going on. Both of his teammates were already scared as Naruto looked towards them and appeared in behind them. And just like that, Naruto knocked both of them out with chops to their necks and put them away. After all, Naruto is still gonna need them for the second part of the Chunin exam, but once this part is over, they are on their own as Naruto finally looked towards the battle that was going on here. Menma as well as Mito were using 3 tail worth of Cubis chakra while Sasuke Uchiha in utter fear has already activated the second Tomo in his both of his Sharingan as Orochimaru was laughing as gigantic snakes were running around the area. Even though Menma and Mito were training from the very young age, they were only still 12-year-old, and at this point they were no match for the power of the Orochimaru. Even if they use 3 tail worth of Cubis chakra, once the 4 tail activate in both of them, they will be out of control, but still Orochimaru can still deal with them as Orochimaru had enough fun as he moved with blinding speeds and appeared in front of both Menma and Mito and used the 5 simple seal to block away their connection to the Cubis chakra. And just like that, both Menma and Mito were knocked out as Orochimaru started to walk towards Sasuke. Well, Sasuke-kun, it is time. Some of you might ask why Orochimaru doesn't go after other powerful Uchihas. After all, in this timeline, the Uchiha massacre never happened. The real reality is that Sasuke is the little brother of Itachi Uchiha. Orochimaru has already been beaten by Itachi, who had the Mangekyo Sharingan earlier. So Orochimaru believed that Sasuke has the same potential as Itachi, so that is the reason he's coming after Sasuke. And Sasuke was in utter fear. After all, he has never seen anything like this. The Uchiha massacre never happened, which means that he was living rather happy life along with his family, though a bit jealous of the attention his older brother is getting, but he has never seen bloodshed, and at this point he was truly scared of Orochimaru as Orochimaru moved his neck, and just like that he beat Sasuke on the neck. And finally Orochimaru had placed the curse mark on Sasuke as Orochimaru smirked at that as he was about to leave, but suddenly he noticed that another figure was watching this as Orochimaru looked towards the figure which was coming out of the woods. Well, I did not expect it. After all, this is none other than Naruto-kun, the firstborn of Hokage. Tell me, Naruto-kun, are you here to protect your siblings? I'm not gonna hurt them to begin with, but it does warm my heart to see such great sibling affections. As Orochimaru burst into laughter. After all, he's well aware of the whole so-called thing about the Destiny Child and things like that, and he knew the foolish decisions being made by Minato and Jiraiya as Naruto simply looked towards them. Orochimaru, I will be your opponent as Naruto made a fighting stance as Orochimaru burst into laughter. Well, you do amuse me, Naruto-kun. So let us begin our small battle as Naruto simply nodded as Naruto clapped his hand fast style. Majestic fire flamed, and just like that, a huge fire rushes towards Orochimaru, who was taken aback at that as a shadow clone jumped in front of Orochimaru as a wall of air appeared, and when the fire flame made contact with the air, or rather wind, as it became even hotter as Orochimaru quickly jumped back and made a earth wall appeared in front of him as the fire utterly destroyed the earth wall. After all, Naruto had the sage body. He has unlimited chakra as Naruto made 10 shadow clones as all of them started to go through hand signs. Technique after technique was launched towards Orochimaru, who was taken aback at that all of these techniques were A rank. And Orochimaru was in utter shock. Naruto should not know these techniques. Hell, some of these techniques do not even belong to anyone in Konoha, mostly being made by other villages and being guarded against the shinobi of other villages. As Orochimaru was in utter shock, as Orochimaru started to jump away, but Naruto was not letting him. As Naruto simply nodded, it is time. As Naruto clapped his hand, wood style. Great forest emergence. When Orochimaru heard that, he was truly in utter shock as the wood underneath him started to move violently and trying to grab Orochimaru, who started to weave between the forest that was being emerged in the forest of that. But Orochimaru cannot escape. After all, he was literally in the forest of that as he was caught within the vines of wood as Naruto started to go through hand sign once again. Wood Dragon Jutsu, and just like that, a Wood Dragon appeared beneath Naruto, and Naruto was standing on top of the Wood Dragon. You die now, Orochimaru, as the Wood Dragon rushes towards Orochimaru, who screamed and opened his mouth and to release another Orochimaru. Even though the wood style is rapidly draining his chakra, but Orochimaru was able to do this as Orochimaru looked towards the coming wood dragon that could even suppress the power of the nine tails as Orochimaru gritted his teeth and started to go through Hensai, reverse summoning as a snake appeared and Orochimaru jumped into his mouth, and just like that, the snake dispelled himself. But before it got dispelled, the wood dragon jutsu has already hit him and thus cutting him in half. But both of his parts were already dispelled, while in the cave of the snakes as Orochimaru appeared from the mouth of the dead snake as Orochimaru looked towards the body of the snake which was cut in half as Orochimaru started was a bit scared, but he was also excited, wood style, as he started to chuckle and burst into laughter. Years ago, he had experimented on the power of the wood style, but it only created a weaker version of Hashirama Senju, nothing more than used for gardening. While on the other hand, Naruto truly possessed the true power of Senju Hashirama, as Orochimaru was truly impressed with it. Well, Naruto-kun, you seem to be, are gonna be my new vessel, as the power of Senju Hashirama, the first Hokage, it shall be mine, Orochimaru of the Sanin, as Orochimaru was laughing like a maniac. While on the other hand, in the forest of death, as Naruto looked towards the dispelled form of the snake, suddenly he heard a ding. Mission completed. Orochimaru of the Sani has been beaten away by the host, thus gaining all the techniques related to magnetic release as well as the chakra, half of the chakra of Shikaku. As Naruto could feel it, his chakra level was surging, but this power, it was not like a separate entity, but rather it got dissolved into his own sage body. As Naruto simply nodded at that, his sage body was also growing thanks to the absorption of half of the power of Shikaku. As Naruto simply smirked at that, wondering if he get all the power of 9 bijus, something true would happen, wondering if this Sage body would evolve even further if he were to get all the power of all 9 bijus, as Naruto simply thought about it but finally appeared beside his two useless teammates, grabbed them and disappeared once again with blinding speeds towards the tower. As after some time, Naruto finally arrived, but Naruto noticed that another team was coming from the forest as both these teams looked towards Naruto, while inside of the seal, Shikaku looked towards Naruto. A bit strange, he could feel it, the essence of his father, the Sage of Six Paths, were coming from Naruto. He was confused about it, but decided to ignore it. After all, the sage had many descendants, and at this point, Shikaku cared little about it. But unknown to Shikaku, it was because Naruto's sage body has absorbed the power of one tail, and as long as Naruto continued to absorb all the 9 bijus, his sage body would evolve to same level that of the 10-tailed Jinchuriki, or that of the Sage of Six Paths. As both teams looked towards each other, Naruto, who was carrying two of his teammates using Shadow Clone, while Gaara's eyes narrowed towards Naruto, but Naruto simply ignored Gaara and finally appeared in the third place of the Chunin exam as Naruto simply threw both of his teammates and opened both of his scrolls, and just like that, a Chunin appeared and gave Naruto the instructions, and finally Naruto as well as his teammates were put away, while on the other hand Naruto was thinking about all the powers he has gained as well as thinking about his future. Honestly, he just wanted to live for himself and didn't care about the future of the so-called world. In his previous life, he was asked again and again to make sacrifices for his family, for so-called greater good, even though he can feel that system wants him to replace Menma and become the new child of destiny of the shinobi world. But honestly, Naruto didn't care much about it. As for the power, Naruto cared even less, but he cannot resist it at the same time. After all, Naruto knew that if he's a weakling, sooner or later he will be forced to give up his chakra to his sibling Menma once again by Minato and Jiraiya. And if he wants to resist them, then he needs to become stronger. But as for the saving the world, Naruto simply shrugged it off. After all, Menma was the child of destiny, that is his work, and Naruto will not care about it. As for his life, he just wants to be away from his family and live a happy life. As Naruto simply closes his eyes and started to rest. After all, it will take time for the third part of the Chunin exam to begin. So now let us have a small time skip. In this time, all the other Jennies who are eligible for the preliminary exams has finally appeared in the tower of Chunin exam as when Minato got the list that who has graduated or rather has arrived in the third part of the Chunin exam. Minato was quite surprised. After all, he actually knew the strength of the teammates of Naruto. Useless That was the first word that would come to anyone's minds who, if they were to see the track record of these children. After all, they were from the bottom of the class, while on the other hand, Naruto was only put there as a show that none of the members of the Uzumaki Namakase family are civilians, and as all of them are shinobi. As for the future of Naruto, neither Minato and Kushina has ever paid any mind to it. His future is only to give his chakra to Menma Mito, and if training is to done, that is to increase chakra so that it can be given to Menma. So that is the only reason they even allowed Naruto to go to academy and learn from there and make a team. As for sending him outside, they never thought about it because he is the chakra bank of Menma and cannot die. As for the useless teammates, they are just that. While on the other hand, Naruto was able to come to the third part as Minato was really confused about it. After all, Naruto's own strength is nothing. The strength of his other teammates is also worthless. So how did Naruto pass the second part of the Chunin exam? The first part can be said to be a fluke, but for the second part, Minato's eyes narrowed at that. The sage body, that was the first word, came to Minato's mind, but the sage body is just that. It will increase your chakra level, healing abilities, but it doesn't grant you hundreds of jutsus or anything like that. As Minato simply shook his head, it seemed that he needs to pay more focus on Naruto after all. As for the third part of the Chunin exam, Minato disappeared and finally appeared in the preliminary exam as Minato looked towards all the people who were gathered there as Minato smiled and gave a speech on the Wheel of Fire and the friendship between the villages as Minato was looking towards Menma and Mito with pride in his eyes, but when he looked towards Naruto, a small frown appeared on his face, but he did not say anything. Finally, the other Jonis has also arrived, whose team has finally passed the second part of the Chunin exam, while on the other hand, Kushina was watching Menma and Mito with pride in her eyes. As for Naruto, she simply ignored him. After all, he is gonna fail in the Chunin exam. There's no way that he's gonna surpass Menma, as Kushina thought in her mind, while on the other hand, Menma was happy about the whole situation. But when he saw Naruto, he was not exactly happy, but he simply ignored him. After all, Naruto's only use is to give up his chakra to him, nothing more than that. While on the other hand, the QB inside of Menma looked towards Naruto with a bit of confusion in his eyes. The sage body which he is sensing, it doesn't belong to the Uzumaki lineage. This should be the sage body of Hashirama Senju, but that is that. He could also sense that something is off with this sage body, as if it was evolving towards the sage body of the sage of sixth part, but the QB simply shook his head at that. It is impossible. Even the sage body of Senju Hashirama was nothing more than that. While on the other hand, finally the Chunin exam has begun. The first match began with Menma taking part and fighting against Kankuro, as Menma easily defeated Kankuro. Even the puppets of Kankuro were beaten down as the battle went on, and finally it was time for Naruto to take part in the Chunin exam. As the board was showing names, and finally it appeared Uzumaki Naruto versus Mito Uzumaki. When that name came, everyone was taken aback at that. After all, these are siblings. No one expected that such a name would come. Even Minato frowned at that, but that does serve its purposes. After all, Mito may not be as powerful as Menma, but she's not that far away. She's solidly on a level of elite Chunin and already on a half step Jonin level, while Menma is easily special Jonin level, as Minato was confident that Mito will defeat Naruto, and Naruto will know that he cannot survive outside without the help of the Uzumaki Namakase family, and will come back to hand over his chakra to Menma. Who knows? When Menma absorbed the chakra of Naruto, he might activate his own sage body as well. That were the thoughts of Minato. While on the other hand, Kushina simply smirked at that. That should teach Naruto a lesson, as Kushina put a hand on the shoulder of Mito and said, Mito, teach him a lesson. Show him that he cannot survive and he can never escape the influence of our family. He should obediently hand over his chakra to Menma and should serve our family like a slave. That is your mission, Mito. Teach him a lesson. As Mito simply smirked at that, do not worry, mom. I will definitely show him the difference between a genius and a failure. And just like that, Mito jumped inside of the ring, while on the other hand, Naruto also started to walk down the stairs and finally looked towards Mito as Mito was smirking, while on the other hand, the proctor finally jumped in. Alright, Are you both ready? As both of them simply nodded at that, finally Proctor said, Alright, let this match begin. With that, the Proctor jumped away as Mito simply smirked at that. Well, Naruto, it seems that your luck has finally ran out, even though I'm rather surprised that you're able to pass two parts of the Chunin exam, but that is that. I will give you credit where it is due, but your luck has truly run out. After all, you are gonna fight against me, and fighting against me, it means defeat for you, Naruto. So I will give you only one last opportunity. Bow down to me and finally admit your mistake, and I will plead on your behalf to let you return back to your family. Otherwise, you will always be considered a failure, kicked out by the Uzumaki Namikaze family, even not accepted by his own family. As Naruto simply looked towards Mito. Mito, you simply talk too much. If you want to fight, just fight. As Mito grated her teeth at that, you have gone too far, Naruto, and I will teach you a lesson. With that, Mito made a hand sign, multiple Shadow Clone Jutsu, as five Shadow Clones appeared behind her. Alright, Naruto, if you can defeat them, I will acknowledge you. With that, she makes a hand sign, and just like that, all five Shadow Clones disappear and rushes towards Naruto with blinding speed. As Naruto sighed, as Naruto clapped his hand together, as a wind barrier appeared around him, and just like that, it started to expand with small wind cutters inside of them as all the shadow clones were cut in several small parts as they burst into smoke. This surprises everyone that was present there. Even Minato's eyes narrowed at that. He has never seen a technique like this. While on the other hand, the Sand Jonin eyes widened at that. He could not believe it. This was the technique of the first Kazekage, even though no one is able to master it. But there are still records of this technique in the library of the Sand Village. How did this kid know about this technique? He needs to report it to Kasakage as soon as possible, as the Jonin of the Sand were panicking, while on the other hand, Minato could not understand it. How did Naruto know such a technique? While on the other hand, Naruto started to go through hand sign, as he also made two shadow clones who also started to go through hand sign, as they released wind style techniques, as Naruto himself released a fast style technique, as a huge tornado of fire appeared, started to rush towards Mito as Mito scoffed, as she started to channel the power of the Kyuubi as a tail appeared behind her, as Mito released a Rasengan from the tip of the tail, as it was a red Rasengan which slammed into Naruto's fire attack as a huge explosion of power took place. But to Mito's surprise, she thought that that technique would dispel Naruto's own technique, but the explosion was coming towards her as she gritted her teeth and started to channel more of her chakra into her Biju cloak. After all, there was little time to make a earth wall to stop the explosion from happening, as she finally gritted her teeth and was able to endure the blast radius as she gritted her teeth even further and started to channel her chakra all over her body. It was actually hurting her, but she can do little about it. And finally, all the wounds has healed away as Two-Tail stayed. Mito looked towards Naruto in utter shock. You know, Naruto, you're actually able to impress me. While I do not know how did you learn these techniques, but that doesn't matter. Now I will teach you the true lesson. In pain, as she made two shadow clones who started to go through hand signs and release their own water technique towards Naruto, and she herself released a gigantic lightning dragon towards Naruto. As Naruto simply moved his foot and slammed it into the ground, and just like that, the earth spikes started to appear from the ground as all the lightning and water technique were simply pushed away by these earth spikes, and they were still coming towards Mito, who jumped into the air and started to make a gigantic Rasengan as she pushed herself towards Naruto, ready to end this battle, as Naruto simply smiled at that. As Naruto threw a kunai towards Mito, as Mito scoffed at it and casually tilted her face to dodge the kunai, while on the other hand Minato's eyes widened at that as Naruto simply smirked and used the substitution technique as Naruto appeared directly behind Mito, who was taken aback at that in mid-air. She cannot change her position, while on the other hand in Naruto's hand was a gigantic Rasengan, which Naruto slammed into the backside of Mito, who screamed in pure pain and agony as Mito was sent flying into the wall, and Mito had not dispelled her own Rasengan, and when Mito slammed into the wall, her own Rasengan exploded, thus giving her even more damage. She was sent flying away as Naruto finally landed on the tip of a at Spike and looked towards Mito, as Mito, who was using the power of the QB, was not completely taken away, but the damage it was great as Mito started to stand up. Damn you, Naruto! Damn you! As she screamed and started to use all of her QB's chakra, the third tail finally appeared behind her as she opened her mouth to make a small version of Bijudama as Naruto once again moved with even further blinding speed and appeared in front of Mito with blinding speed as Naruto slammed his fist into the chin of Mito. Mito, who was making the Bijudama, was taken aback at that, but just in last second, she was able to dispel the Bijudama she was forming. Otherwise, her face would have been blown away. One punch after another landed on the body of Mito, who was screaming. Naruto had a sage body. His strength was nothing to scoff at. As every punch, it was like a mini Rasengan slamming into her body. As Naruto grabbed her and jumped into the air and started to rotate. Just like the Lee's technique, Naruto, on the other hand, possessed the sage body, while Mito, who was already injured, even using the power of Kyuubi, it was difficult. As Naruto threw her with blinding rotation into the ground as a huge crater appeared, as Naruto himself also landed beside her, as Mito was already unconscious, as the three-tail has already dispelled itself. Everyone was in utter silence. This was a battle they have never expected. When they saw two names together, Naruto Uzumaki versus Mito Uzumaki, they were confident that the Mito Uzumaki would win. She's not only the daughter of Hokage, but she's also the student of Jiraiya of the Sanin, even though many people know that Menma is more favored, but she's also giving all the training that Menma is given, and no one expected her to lose. But now, looking towards Naruto, the Jonin sensei of Naruto looked towards Naruto with complicated expression on his face. He doesn't know what to say at this point. Could he be proud of his student? No, that is absolutely impossible. After all, he has never taught Naruto anything. Hell, even in DNAC missions, when his teammates were forcing Naruto to do all the work, he has never said a word about it. And now that his student has become this powerful, he cannot take credit of it, as the Jonin sensei simply closes his eyes, while on the other hand Minato has already stood up as Minato disappeared and appeared beside Mito. As he checked on Mito, she was only unconscious, and the power of Kyuubi was already healing Mito, while on the other hand Minato looked towards Naruto with a complicated expression on his face. He has never expected Naruto to win. How did Naruto win to begin with? Where did he learn those techniques, those elemental techniques? Even the Uzumaki Namikaze library doesn't possess it. Rasengan is one thing. After all, they were always openly training Menma and Mito, and even Naruto at one point tried to learn the technique when Minato was explaining all the steps to it, though they simply scolded him away, telling him that his chakra belonged to Menma and he should not waste it, while on the other hand, they always talk about the Rasengan steps on the dinner table as well. So Naruto knows about the Rasengan step, but that is one thing. But about the other techniques, Minato was really confused about it. He doesn't believe that Naruto know about them, or rather has made those techniques. After all, he himself knows that how much chakra they taken away from Naruto, so he cannot simply experiment with those techniques. While on the other hand, Naruto simply looked towards Minato with a blank expression on his face, as Minato flinched at that expression but did not say anything as he grabbed Mito and finally appeared beside the medical ninjas who were coming and finally put her on the stretcher, while Minato also disappeared once again and appeared on the side of the Hokage throne as the proctor finally jumped in. Alright, the winner is Uzumaki Naruto, and Naruto simply nodded at that and started to walk towards the bench, while his other two useless teammates were either defeated, as one of his teammates also fell in the hands of another sand shinobi and was killed off, but Naruto simply ignored it. After all, he doesn't care about them. While on the other hand, his other teammate got his shinobi career finally ended when his leg was broken by another shinobi from another village. Thus, both of his teammates were utterly ruined. While on the other hand, Naruto has finally passed the third part of the Chunin exam, as Minato finally looked towards the final battle that was happening. That was Gaara versus Lee. That went the same, just like the original timeline. And finally, it was time, as Minato finally stood up as he looked towards all the genin from the other villages as well as his own village that was standing there. As this time, Hinata had used the seal on the forehead of Neji and force him to give up, otherwise she would have lost. But Hinata simply threatened Neji that if he didn't give up, she will use it on him as well as his friends from the side branch, while Neji was furious about it as he wanted to show the result of his training, and even if Hinata were to use it in the Chunin exam, then it would not look good in front of her so-called in-laws in the future. But Hinata told him that if he did not give up, or then she will use it on the friends of Neji from the side branch, which he cared about, as Neji finally decided to make a show of a fight and finally lost in the hands of Hinata, as Hinata was smug about it. And Menma was happy that his fiancée was able to pass the Chunin exam and she was a strong kunoichi, while on the other hand, Naruto simply ignored it. After all, he could tell that Neji still had a lot of chakra and he did not give it his all, but Naruto simply ignored it. After all, in the original timeline, Neji did give up his life to protect Hinata and Menma, but Naruto didn't care about it, while on the other hand, Kushina was furious as she was at the moment beside Mito in the hospital wing of the Chunin exam. She could not believe it. She has personally trained Mito. She knows the strength of Mito. While not as great as Menma, it is not far away. Mito is already on an elite Chunin level, while Menma is on special Jonin level. Both of them also use the power of the QB, which means that they can easily be on a level of a Jonin. But how? How did Naruto defeat it? Mito, it simply doesn't make sense at all. Could it be because of the sage body? She doesn't know much about the sage body. After all, she herself doesn't possess it. Her body is more attuned to that of the ceiling powers of the Uzumaki clan. Finally, the door opened as Tsunade finally appeared. As Tsunade started to heal Mito, do not worry, Kushina. The QB inside of her has already healed most of the damage. But tell me, Kushina, how did this happen? After all, Tsunade was not present in the Chunin exam. So she did not knew what truly happened as Kushina started to explain. Damn it, I do not know how did that loser became this powerful. Tsunade, it doesn't make sense. Could it be really because of the sage body? As Tsunade frowned at that, there is little to be known about the sage body as she simply shook her head. I do not know much about it even though the Senju clan does possess the sage body, but the most of the sage body is uncompleted. But only 1% had truly activated the full sage body. That was my grandfather, Senju Hashirama. But that is because of the Moketon, and I do not believe that Naruto possess Moketon. His sage body should not be this powerful to grant him this much chakra and this much strength. After all, when she was healing the wounds of Mito, she has also realized that most of the damage is not because of the Rasengan, but rather because of the multiple punches that Naruto had landed on Mito, and each and every punch was monstrous in strength. So she realized that it was immense strength that has done most of the damage, but she didn't know how Naruto learned all those elemental techniques, but she simply ignored them. And she said, well, Kushina, it seems that the things are gonna get complicated. If Menma doesn't get the chakra of Naruto, then things will not end well. As Kushina grated her teeth at that, as she looked towards Mito, she also realized that if Naruto were to show greater benefit in front of Minato and Jiraiya, they will definitely not ask Naruto for chakra, rather, they will even ask him to return back to the family. As for the chakra, whose chakra will be given to Menma, as she looked towards Mito, not many people know about it, but when they first tested who has more compatibility, that of the chakra of Menma, then the person was not Naruto. In actuality, it was actually Mito who was more compatible to Naruto's chakra, but she not only possessed the Uzumaki chains, but she was also the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails, one half of the Nine Tails. So it was decided between them that they will not take chakra away from Mito, but rather they will take it away from Naruto, whose compatibility was not as great as that of Mito, but still, he was not a Jinchuriki. Therefore, they believed that Naruto's potential was not as great as that of Mito. So they decided to sacrifice Naruto and bring Mito into the fold. But if Naruto proves that he's actually stronger than Mito, and if he by some means were to defeat or show a great battle in front of Menma, that Minato will definitely force Mito to give up his chakra, even though as a Jinchuriki Mito can recover in one day what Naruto takes half a month to recover, but that still doesn't make her happy about it. After all, her daughter is supposed to be standing at the pinnacle of the world, not giving up his chakra even to her brother. So she wants to sacrifice Naruto, not Mito, as she gritted her teeth at that. Do not worry, Tsunade. I will be training Menma personally, and I will make sure that Naruto will know his place and Naruto make more sacrifices for the family. This is a promise. As Kushina nodded at that, as she looked towards Tsunade, help me, Tsunade. As Tsunade nodded at that, they will all work together to make sure that Menma defeat Naruto in the finals of the Chunin exam, and Naruto will hand over his chakra for the benefit of the village and for the benefit of the family. But hey guys, I'm gonna end this part here, so hopefully you guys like the video. And yeah guys, I would like to make a request to all of you guys to check out the description in the video, where there is a link for you guys for the my other channel on which I upload videos related to Dragon Ball. So check out the channel as well. And yeah guys, leave some likes and comments in the comment section. That is a great way of motivation for us creators. So yeah guys, see you soon for in the next part. Peace.